So, hello everyone. I'm super excited to be here. A lot of you may not know who I am because I don't really show up to things anymore. That's because I'm a senior. If you notice, there's really not any other seniors in this room. Kind of the way the TVG works is like you join as a first or second year, you do like your projects and all of your things. Then third year you might get back to the club by being on exec or board. And then after that you kind of just dip because you have your full-time offer, you might take on a mentee, get swiped a few times. And yeah, so that's basically the same story for me. And I did this like presentation similarly last year where I just kind of gave advice on stuff. I feel like I've had a pretty fulfilling UCLA career. I'm graduating this quarter, so like 2 weeks to go. And so with that being said, like I have a bunch of things to share, and just like little words of wisdom before I go. And I feel like for a lot of you individually, I've spoken to you about a lot of these things, but especially for you newbies that I haven't gotten the chance to talk to as much, I would love to share what I've found. So actually, I think, So this introduction that I said was supposed to be on this slide. My slides are going to be like pretty ugly and terrible and very low in words, so that you pay more attention to me. That's going to be great. And I will say a lot of really bad jokes. And when I say these really bad jokes, you can either look at the ground and pretend I didn't say anything, or you can laugh. You know, when you laugh, it's just better for everyone. So let's do a practice laugh. So if I say a really bad joke and it doesn't hit, I'm gonna just be like, practice laugh. Come on, please. Okay, great. So basically, like, I feel like the best way to do this is kind of just to share. It's like a chronology of my UCLA time. I think, especially for the third years now, and for you second years, like one of the funniest parts of becoming an upperclassman is just seeing how like dumb and clueless the freshmen are, if we're being honest. And it's like really humbling because it's like, damn, we were there once too. So for all y'all freshmen, when the freshmen come next to you, you're gonna be like, damn, like they are so clueless, and it's gonna be really funny. Especially when there's club recruitment, you're gonna be like, oh my god, tell me how TVG like impacted your time at UCLA. And you're gonna be like, bro, I just joined the club. But you're gonna be this like fancy tale of all these things. So I am a senior, which is pretty crazy. I don't feel that old, but I look at all of you young people and I'm like, man, I'm kind of old as fuck. But I came here fall of my freshman year, fall of 2021. So you guys were probably like what, 5th graders at the time? Yeah, something like that. No. Okay, that but fall quarter freshman year, very rough time. I went from online high school during COVID to in-person quarter system classes, which was very rough. I didn't know anyone at UCLA. No one from my high school went here. And no one else from Antioch went here. Shout out Antioch. End of the yellow line of the BART system in the Bay. Very exciting. And I was still in a long distance relationship with my super toxic high school girlfriend. And that was extremely traumatic and stressful. And so I just was not, like, I did not hit the ground running. I like face planted immediately and then was like struggling to even crawl. It was a very tough time. But the relationship with the girlfriend ended, thank goodness. My roommates were super chill, so I talked a lot with them. And coming into my winter quarter freshman year, I was like, I need to get into one of these business clubs. Because my fall quarter, I was like, I applied only to one. I was like, oh, I'm gonna apply to a club and I'm gonna get in, because that's how clubs work, right? You wanna be in a club, so you join. And then like a lot of us know, it's like, that's very much not how it works with these competitive clubs. So I applied to all of them, all the ones that I knew of winter quarter. At the time, TVG had the very latest recruitment period. So final rounds were during week 3. All the other clubs had them during week 2. So I got into a few final rounds for other clubs, failed them. And then by the time I got to the TVG one, I was like all good at casing because I failed all these other club interviews and I knew how it worked. And then I got into TVG. And at the time, I was the only non-Asian in the club. Like, actually crazy. Like, I'm very happy that there's a lot more diversity in the club because it wasn't even literally just like, oh, I was the only white guy. No, I was like, literally everyone was Asian. My anecdote on that is I literally did not know how to use chopsticks when I joined TBG, And the other day, a Chinese grandma complimented me on my chopstick game. So I was very proud of that, you know. A lot of this, yeah. Thank you, Rex. Thank you, Rex. The K barbecue, amazing. The first time I went, like, I didn't even know what to do. Bro, now I'm like turning everything, I'm cooking everything. It's amazing. Meat Love, I love it. The shirt paid for itself twice over by now. Buy a shirt, you go to Meat Love. It's great. You get a free drink every single time you go. Wear the shirt, and they love it. Yeah, and then during winter, I'm realizing this is taking very long to speed it up. But winter quarter, basically, I met my first college girlfriend. Actually, we were randomly assigned to the same case competition team. Like, we didn't even know, and then we got ronde after, really hit off, dated until the end of my second year. That first summer, I worked at First Republic Bank. If that sounds familiar, it's because it's the bank that went bankrupt right after Silicon Valley Bank, like a year and a half ago. And for that, I was like, oh, it's a bank in San Francisco. It pays $30 an hour, and I'm broke. And they take on freshmen, so I applied to like all 60 positions they had in their San Francisco office. I got interview for one. It was residential loan closing intern. I didn't even really know what that meant. And it just basically was like mortgages. Like, it just processed mortgage applications. Desiree would know a lot more about this because she's a real estate agent, so talk to her. But I was taking this interview from Belarus. I was visiting family there, and there was no Wi-Fi in my grandma's apartment, so I had to like go buy a Wi-Fi card at the grocery. I didn't even really know how it worked. But that was a really good summer. And then coming into fall, I was the director of finance of TBG, basically like. So that after that was April, and I think Jared is now in that role. So basically, it's like very underappreciated because we manage all the club finances, and it doesn't sound like much, but you have to deal with a lot of bullshit from the exec. At least at the time, I had to deal with a lot of bullshit from my exec. I'm sure this exec is amazing. Specifically when applying for funding from UCLA, because everything is like it's a firm 3 weeks in advance notice. Right, so if you want to apply like 2 weeks in advance for funding, they don't even read your application, right? And the exec at the time would be like, hey, we have an event next week, can we get funding? And I would like bang my head against the wall every single time. And then that second summer, I worked at Kraft Heinz, like the food company that makes mac and cheese. I applied to a bunch more internships that summer, and since I had Kraft Heinz, I got a lot more offers. And the interesting thing that happened that summer for recruiting was I got an offer for JP Morgan's like residential banking role, but also for this Kraft Heinz. And JP Morgan paid more, was JP Morgan, and was in Seattle, which is where I really wanted to intern. Kraft Heinz paid like $10 an hour less, and was not JP Morgan, so it wasn't that name. But I found that I thought that the benefit of going there would have been very low, since I already basically learned everything that there was to learn in mortgages, and I didn't really want to do that with my life. And so I wanted to try something new, and I felt like I would learn the most with Kraft Heinz. The way that internships kind of work in general is that it's a way for companies to get like free talent scouting early. I think for us interns, it's very clear why it's helpful. You know, like you get something on your resume, you get paid, you get to move to a new city, like you can kind of ball out for a summer, right? But I remember wondering what the companies get out of it. What companies get out of interns is it's a very low commitment way to get talent, right? They can try you out. If they like you and how you work, they can give you a full-time offer. And if they don't like how you work, they don't have to fire you, right? And pay you severance and do all that bullshit. They can just be like, oh, sorry, we're not gonna be giving you a return internship. And then they can secure all this top talent super early, and they don't have to worry about it. So that's what the company gets in it. And so that's just important to keep in mind when you're looking for roles too. Then junior fall, I went and studied abroad in Paris, the program that Martina just came back from as well. And that was like the greatest time ever. I think if any of you have even an inkling of a desire to go abroad, there's nothing I would individually suggest more than doing so. For a lot of you that study econ or biz econ, the econ department allows up to 3 upper division electives to be from abroad. So in Paris, I took 5 classes. There was 3 econs, a history, and a French class. I probably studied 20 hours all semester for all 5 classes, and I didn't go to like any classes except the seminars where attendance was mandatory. And then I got straight A's. They transferred back for full credits here. Martina's shaking her head because she knows exactly how nice this was. And then just balling out in Europe the whole time, right? And it's really nice because you can basically reinvent yourself. The beauty of the program we did is there's a ton of other exchange students at this university, and I didn't talk to any Americans, which was really nice. And it's very interesting because like there very much is an American vibe that I did not realize was so profound until there were no Americans around and I was the only one. And I was like, damn, like this is crazy. And then one time they had like a UC center in Paris that I went to, and then I walked in and there was like these basic white bitches that were like, oh my gosh, going out in Paris last night was so fun. And I just walked around and never went back. I was like, I didn't go all the way across the world to be dealing with the same thing that I see like in Westwood every single day, right? So if you have any desire to go, please do. My advice, junior fall is when Martina and I went. I think that's the best time. I think there's such a beauty to being a student at another university itself. So there are a lot of great summer programs, but summer programs, one, you're not an actual like student during the school year at a university. Like you might be doing a cool program with other people, but you're not like actually enrolled on a campus, you know. And I think there's such a special feeling to being enrolled on a different campus. Like I was a Parisian student, you know, like there was a campus, like there was a cafeteria. I tried out and made the volleyball team. French D1 volleyball athlete. That's my flex. You know, and I think like you get so many stories from that experience, right? And a lot of people that I know that kind of wanted to and didn't for whatever reason, like, oh, like I have to recruit for my internship during my junior fall, so I can't go. Like I recruited for BCG internships in my 18 square meter apartment, and it was completely fine. You know, if you want to go, I definitely recommend. And then coming into senior year, I was like I had interned for BCG in their Seattle office over the summer, and then this year I'm just like chilling and really trying to not do as much schoolwork or job work, and just like having more fun and doing a lot more side quests. Even though I normally do a bunch of side quests, now that's like the main quest is to do more side quests. So I think the general tips that was supposed to be that slide. A couple, like the main 4 sections of tips, it's like TBG, academic, like money stuff, and then like miscellaneous random things that I think are interesting. For TBG, as you can see, they're very light in the words, and then I expand on them by saying them, so that the whole time you're looking at me knows that I'm very excited. Projects are good for the resume, that is true. I only did 3 projects at TBG in my time here, and like only actually did 2 of them. One was I joined winter of my freshman year. I did one in the spring of my freshman year, and then I PM'd one fall sophomore year. And then I was an advisor for another project for the LA Olympic Committee project, which effectively means I did literally nothing. I didn't do any. My first time seeing the PowerPoint presentation was when we were presenting it to the client. Like, I was a terrible advisor. But we did get to do that presentation in person because our offices are in Wilshire, in one of the skyscrapers there. And like we all dressed up in fancy suits and got to meet like the Olympians that run the Olympic planning committee, and it was really cool. And like everyone was introducing themselves and explaining their roles. And I was like, hey, I'm Dennis, I'm the advisor. I didn't do anything for this project. I'm just here for moral support, and I'm really excited to be here. And everyone laughed and it was great, you know? So the projects are really, really good. One, like I know, especially your first and second year, you're very concerned with getting lines on the resume. Projects are a really good way to do that. And they give you things to talk about during interviews. Oftentimes, they're like, what's a time you got a conflict on the team? I've had plenty of conflicts on my team, mostly with my teammates not doing shit, and I'm having to carry the whole project, right? And if you're able to package that into a nice story, that's a really good thing to talk about too. It was like really wholesome for me when I walked into this room and everyone was chatting with each other and like planning things and stuff. When I joined, it was very much not that way. I think it was much more professional of a club than it is. Like it was only like professional. Now it still very much is, but like the social aspect is really nice. Like a lot of my great friends are from TBG. Social events are like super fun. So try to like just go to as many as you can. I know like there's a huge community, so like y'all will be fine. But the funny anecdote I have is like my first time ever getting drunk was at a TBG social, and I had to get walked back, and it was like really embarrassing because I was like stumbling and I didn't know what was happening. And then the mentoring vibes, specifically like regarding advice and helping people out. Basically like the way it is like as a first and second year you get advice from other people. Third and fourth year you get that advice back, right? So for the people giving the advice, the benefit, like their value is clear, like they know shit. They're telling you what to do, how to format your resume, how to package stuff, As a first and second year, you don't know shit, and you're kind of just there. The two ways like you can make yourself valuable to these mentors of yours is one, like embrace being clueless. Like it's really endearing to older people when you're like, I have no idea what's happening, but I really appreciate your help. You know, can you help me? You know, like it's a very nice thing to have. And that's where like when you're getting mentored, when you're an intern and you don't know what the fuck is happening in the company, you're like, hey, can you help me out? And the second thing about this is swipes. So this is like as first and second years, your number one benefit to upperclassmen is your swipes. And this is just the reality. The hill food's really good. When you move off the hill, you miss the swipes. So first and second years, swipe generously, and then get a lot of knowledge from the upperclassmen. And then when you're in third and fourth year, you get swiped generously back, and it's amazing. This week I got 3 swipes, 2 from Vitali, 1 from April today, and
2.
3. Okay, so she swiped me on 2 different equations, 3 swipes total. Sorry about that. Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So basically, I got 4 swipes this week. You know.
That's 5.
Hype, you know. 5.
You swiped twice today for the
No, but you got yourself an acai bowl too. So you swiped yourself.
An extra $1. You spent like $5 extra.
Ah, that's true. So I got 5 swipes this week. Even better. See, isn't that so exciting?
3.
So okay, yeah, I do love the acai bowl place in Akron. It's really delicious. But be very generous with your swipes. Especially like when you're reaching out to people on LinkedIn. If you want to DM like an upperclassman on LinkedIn, be like, blah blah. I would love to learn more about this internship or like this class you've taken or whatever. I would love to swipe you sometime. They're gonna respond every single time. Advice about academics. I was the valedictorian of my high school class, flex. Somehow got a 4.0 my fall freshman year despite like all the crises I was having. And then I got a B+ in management 1A winter quarter freshman year. And I was I was so, like I actually cried when I got this B+ because I was the first non-A of my entire life. And there goes my 4.0 GPA. You know, I was like, I'm done. Like I have no meaning to my life. Everything is for nothing. And like you laugh, but like I was distraught. And I'm sure for a lot of us that are like recovering 4.0 people that got non-4.0 grades here, like you resonate with that. Like we've been there where we're like, fuck, like we will never have a 4.0 again. My like opinion on this now is obviously like GPA is important, but as long as it's above a 3.5, like you're totally fine. You know, having like a 3.5 plus and then lots of extracurriculars and being an interesting person is infinitely better than having a 4.0 and being a bot. You know, we all know those people that study like all the damn time and they never do anything else. And you want to go do something? Sorry, I have to study. Like, I run from them like the plague these days. And that's okay if you're like that. Just know it's not the most important thing in the world. And the thing is, like, especially for those that are like second or third years now, the econ classes are a perfect example of this. I think we all came to UCLA hoping we had like very good professors that were going to teach us that are going to be really good, right? But the curse of the econ department and the CS department as well is that professors have really good lecture slides, but are really bad at lecturing. And that just very much discourages attendance because I found I'd be sitting there not paying any attention and I was just like, why am I here? You know? And it's like when you just stop going to class, it's like, that's 4 hours that you just invented out of thin air. And those 4 hours can be used for so many more important things like doing research, getting a job, chilling with friends at jams, reading a book, doing whatever, like so much better than just sitting distracted in the lecture. So my advice, like just do the bare minimum needed to pass your classes well and you'll be completely fine. Yeah, grades aren't that deep. I laugh about my B+ now. And I like will much more fondly remember the times I hang out with friends rather than the extra 2 hours I study for an exam, right? These days, I like don't really go to class, lock in a week before exams, rinse and repeat. A lot of the econ material will never be used ever in your entire life. Like what even is the marginal rate of substitution, right? No one actually knows. And then what I've found is the most enjoyable classes are the ones that teach really well, regardless of what that material actually is. I remember I used to be like, oh my goodness, if I take a class on this really interesting topic, I'm gonna love it, right? But then that would be taught really poorly and I'll be like, fuck, this is really boring. right? But the best classes are those that are taught really engagingly, and so try to find those ones. I found that those are usually always GEs or like really random departments that have like very niche topics. I was a geology minor for a year. I took 3 geology classes here, and they were so much fun. Like, we would go on field trips and camp for like 2 weekends in a row in the desert, and like be outside like mapping canyons all day, and then we'd like make a campfire and drink with a professor at night. You know, super fun things like that. Like right now I'm taking a Soviet cinema class where there's only 1 3-hour lecture a week. The first hours we just like talk about the movie in history, and then we watch the movie in class. Like I came from that to this meeting, and every week I go to Trader Joe's to buy new snacks to try while watching the movie, and it's like super exciting. Like my favorite GE was Roman art and archaeology. You know, I still talk to that professor, and like our final project, like I went to Michael's and made like a little statue of Emperor Trajan, and then I saw the original statue in the Louvre in Paris when I studied abroad. You know, like those are the things you'll remember, not fucking Econ 101, Cornell and Bernard, whatever that is. You know, I still don't know what that is. With money, I think this is a very important topic because we're all broke college students that want to ball out and do fun things, right? And oftentimes we look at our bank accounts and we're like, damn. I mean, those Patagonias being $140 is actually crazy. Back in my day, they were $110. So I don't know what happened there. Inflation went crazy. But what you'll notice, and what I've learned, is there's 2 types of like jobs. One is like time-based, and then one is project-based. And so a project is like, I'll give you $100 when you finish this thing. A time-based is like, I'll pay you $15 an hour. And I learned for me personally, like I really dislike the time-based jobs because they discourage you from being efficient and finding like creative ways to solve problems. I think it's like, oh, you need to do this thing and I'm only gonna pay you $15 an hour. It's like, fuck, like I have no reason to be efficient or like figure out a way to solve this problem quicker. I prefer project-based work. Unfortunately, that doesn't really happen for college students. So you have to do hour-based work. So find a way to get a really high rate. And the best way to do that is tutoring. People pay a fuck ton of money for tutoring. It's actually insane, and there's such a huge premium on the fact that we're UCLA students. Like, I regularly tutor people for $65 an hour. And it's like actually like $65 an hour versus $18 an hour working at Kirchhoff Coffee House dealing with ungrateful student customers like any day of the week, you know? And I usually just use like Perplexity to tell her the answers anyway. And then explain it well, right? And then she just got an A on her math test, so not flex. And then the last thing I'll say, and what I learned in Paris, is like the benefit of money is spending it, not in hoarding it. Obviously, you don't want to like have no money saved in case of a rainy day. But I remember I used to be like super stringy with my money. I was like, oh my god, $10 to go to In-N-Out with my friends, I can't do that. Like, I have swipes, so I'm gonna go to Ronde instead. Like, why would I ever waste that money? But the benefit is like, you need to spend money on experiences, and like those are the things you'll remember more. So I feel like right now I just have like very high cash flow. Like I'm making a lot of money and I'm spending a lot of money. And I think that should, like for me, I never wanted being broke to be a reason I couldn't do something, right? I didn't want someone to be like, oh, do you want to go to the museum this weekend? And I'll be like, oh, sorry, I don't have the money, right? I just never wanted that to be a reason to not go. And so like, try to tutor people. Basically, Facebook group chats, or you can talk to Josie, or Daily Bruin ads. Because rich LA parents put ads to tutor their kids in the Daily Bruin, and it's super nice. And then the last thing, like random miscellaneous. Number one thing about classes, you can download the calendar data for your classes on My UCLA. So you don't have to manually import your calendar data. Literally, if you go on the study list, you can download it as a calendar data file, and then you can import it into Apple Calendar or Google Calendar. And it's actually the greatest thing ever. It imports all your classes, when and what time they are, as well as like all the final exams and university holidays, and when enrollment is. So like it's actually huge. This is what my calendar looks like on the right. So like my philosophy is, I know some people, like my philosophy is like lectures are all the same color and then discussions are all the same color, rather than classes being the same color. Because I feel like the mentality is not, oh, what class am I going to go to? I'm like, is it a discussion or is it a lecture? So for me, obviously the color coding is going to be different for everyone. And then I have yellow is like when I have tour guide job stuff, and then blue is like miscellaneous shit. I usually just sign up for everything and then usually don't go to like 90% of it. That's nice to have the optionality. Strength of weak ties. The idea here is like most of the opportunities that you'll get at UCLA and in life come not from people you know super duper well, but from people you like kind of know or vaguely know, right? The reason why is like in any like social group, you are a lot more like homogenous with each other. Like that's why you're friends, because you all like the same thing. And so it's usually like a random acquaintance that'll give you these opportunities. A perfect example is a Como internship that I got because Tiffany 2 years ago brought it up at a TBG GM meeting, and she's like, oh, this random startup is having internships, and you should do it. So she did it, I did it, and now Bella's doing it too, right? And like that is like the same like degree of connect, like it's so many degrees of connections removed because like we all weekly know each other. Other thing, what makes a great day? I think I talked to Rex about this weekend, but while skiing on a very good day, I might add, beautiful weather. But I think the thing, I learned this in Paris, that a lot of times a good day is not a good day because of one great thing, right? Sometimes there's like, I got into UCLA, or like, I won the lottery, or like, I'm official with my partner. Like, sure, like that day is good because that one huge thing. But most of the times, a good day is a good day because of a lot of really small little things that happen that collectively make it super special. Like, oh, I had a really nice breakfast with my roommates and we had coffee outside on our porch. And then like I had a really nice call with my sister when I walked to class. Discussion was cool. I sat with a friend on jams. And then I went for a nice run. And then I read my book for a bit and I watched a movie. So it's like individually those things aren't that special. Like they don't make the day great by themselves, but collectively they make it super, super fun. And so just like appreciate those little things more. Just like a laugh or hang out with each other. Like the reason people miss college so much is because we all live within a 5 minutes walking distance of each other, right? And so I was like, oh, who can swipe me today? April's like, I can swipe you. And then we went on a really nice walk around campus and we chatted for 45 minutes, right? When we both graduate, we live in like, even if we live in the same city, like that kind of spontaneity won't be able to happen. So take advantage of that. And yeah. The last thing, oh yeah. The last, oh, yeah, wait. Are these loading? Oh, they did load. I feel like I'm graduating this quarter. I just kind of want to show what I'm doing. People are like, what are you doing after graduation? And usually that really stresses people out because they like have existential crises. I'm definitely having one right now, but the next month is gonna be fun. I'm going to the UK in April to visit like all my Parisian study abroad friends that now go to university there. And then starting in May, I'm backpacking the Pacific Crest Trail. So this is a map of it on the right. So it's like one of the 3 main like backpacking trails that go from Mexico to Canada. And so basically the way it works is like you backpack for a week. Like every week you intersect some major road, hitchhike to town, buy more food, hitchhike back to the trail, keep going. So that's gonna be like May to October. And then in October, I'm gonna have a huge existential crisis. That's an October problem. Yeah, last thing, my last ever tour guide tour is Monday of finals week 2 to 3. You guys can sign up for on the left. Sign up for, I don't know, if you guys want to keep track with adventures, you can subscribe to my blog. Also, Canva makes really cool generative AI QR codes like this. And then I've been curating an art gallery in my hallway. So if you guys want to go to the grand opening next Thursday, that's gonna be epic. But yeah, thanks for listening. Cool.